Well, I figured I might as well tell y'all now, because eventually y'all gonna notice old White's gone. It got destroyed. Yep. Nobody got hurt bad, just minor stuff. But Papa was driving it the other day. He was coming home from checking some cows, and he's gonna turn it in a parts store, and the parts store was on the left hand side of the road. He was on the right coming this way, and when he turned to the left across the other lane, he didn't see another I think it was a Tahoe coming, and he turned right in front of him. I said it was his fault, but thank goodness everybody was okay. He skinned his arm, the airbags went off. He skinned his arm in one spot, just like a scrape, like you'd get on your knee when you was a kid, just across it. Wasn't no deep cut or nothing like that. And the other boy was 16, and I think it hurt this joint right here in his thumb. But other than that, they was both fine, which I was very lucky. Very lucky that they wasn't worse than it was. But the poor truck, of course the truck don't matter. I'm just more proud that both of them was all right, and everybody walked away from it without anything major, just a little soreness. But there ain't nothing left of the truck no more. The engine's gone. It's been, the whole front end was drove back into the engine. The cab is warped. The side over there that took all the impact opens and shuts fine, but as you can see, this whole side is warped. The whole cab is on this side. The suspension's gone underneath the front, obviously. The radiator, everything's gone on the front. So it's totaled. It's, of course, if it had just got barely bent, they would have totaled this thing. It sucks because that was the one good pasture truck we had. All we got left is old Brown, and it's the truck that won't die around here. The Brown truck is. It just keeps on living. That thing's been around since I was probably 14 years old. So it's been around 14 years then, going on 15. So we had a Ford F-150 before we had this one, and I had a man. I was coming down the road, basically the opposite thing that happened with him, except I was the one that got pulled out in front of, and it totaled it the same way, just about. Didn't do this much damage, but it totaled it out. I drilled, they were looking the opposite direction, watching the traffic coming towards them that way. They were sitting in a neighborhood, and they never looked back my direction. And as soon as the car that they were watching went by, they gunned it and darted out in the road right in front of me. And they were in a Honda Civic 4-door, and I hit them right here, basically between the two doors, and it bent the whole, crushed that whole car in. And then it ruined the front end like on this truck, but it wasn't near as bad. I think my old boy actually redid it and got it back on the road, but this in here, you can't fix it. The cab's ruined, the front end's ruined, and then hell, the bed was ruined before the wreck from us working. So yep, old White is gone. Just figured I'd let everybody know we're down. Which, one way, on the flip side of it, when we got this truck, it was just a lucky find, and it was a good truck for a good buy, and that's why we bought it. But it really wasn't what we wanted. We've yet to actually get what we want in a pasture truck, so maybe this is a good opportunity for us to get another pasture truck like we want. We would like to find a 3/4 ton truck, don't matter if it's gas or diesel, 4-wheel drive, and then we want to put a flatbed on it so we can haul hay with it. And I'd love for it to have a dump cylinder on the bed, so that way we can just dump the rolls off, and maybe, or even just an old 2-door 1 ton, which the red truck is actually perfect for it. But that truck is, we've took such good care of that truck. We hate to use it for a pasture truck. There's nothing wrong with it, because when you take these things out in the pasture, they get cow manure all up in them. They get beat up from the cattle bumping into them, riding across some old rough pastures with ditches and everything else in them, and hauling hay on them. It just destroys them. And that's why we always buy these little cheap trucks for about, I don't know, generally we don't spend much over $5,000 on one. Just a 2-door 4-wheel drive, preferably long wheelbase, but we couldn't never find a long wheelbase anymore. Nobody ever buys them new, and you find them used is nearly impossible. So that's what happened with this thing. So glad everybody's all right. Truck's destroyed, but at the end of the day, the truck don't really matter. Didn't really want to spend money on another truck right now, none of us did, but I mean, that's just part of it. It's what we got. And no, there was no collision on this pile of junk. It was liability only. Oh man, it wouldn't have mattered if it would have got more than probably $2,000 worth of damage done to it. They would have totaled it anyway. So because a truck like this, just a plain white truck, 2-wheel drive, 2-door, or not 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, 2-door, that's an 05 or older, all they're worth like $5,000 at the most. And when they're just plain Jane trucks on the inside, and it don't take much to total a $5,000 truck out in damage. So there's really no point in having collision on it, other than liability, because you kind of throwing your money away. You're cheaper just to pay liability and save your money. But yeah, it's gone. One thing I wanted to touch on right quick while this thing's sitting here, I've got to take this thing up to the winterize it and take it and put it in the barn. The other day on the hay preservative applicator, I was talking about putting a switch inside so I can adjust the pressure from in the cab. And I had a few people ask me questions about, well, that's gonna, or said that that would be interesting to see how I was gonna do that. All you need is an electric regulator, just like I put on the sprayer back in the spring, which I think there's a video of that. Well, I know there's a video of it. It's just a 2-wire is all it is. It's a 2-wire plug. All you need is a toggle switch with power and ground, and it's got like a little flap valve in there, and it twists, and that's how it sets the pressure to regulate it. And if you really want to get fancy with it, you can put one of these T's in with a little line that runs to a gauge up in the cab, which the control box came with when I bought this kit for the sprayer. Then this little line hooks up in it, and it's got little screw caps like this that screws up there into the harness on the back of the tractor, and then you can watch the gauge from in the cab and adjust that. And it's not that expensive to do that. This little jewel here is a little bit pricey, but it's not too bad depending on where you get it. Spray smarter. You gotta look around. Certain times of the year, like later this winter around December, I can probably pick that thing up for a pretty good deal. But if you wait till like now or in the spring, oh god, it's those things, that's when they jack the prices up on everything. They get high. But I just kind of wanted to give y'all a little update on old white, that you ain't going to be seeing it any longer, because it's going to be taken to the junk yard pretty soon, and that's what happened to her. But thankfully he's all right and okay. And yep, I guess we'll get us another truck eventually, but I don't know, we'll see. Thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, subscribe.